still trying to take.
So yesterday I arrived in Hof, Germany. And why Hof is important? Well, during the final mopping up operation in the Ruhr pocket, the 97th took thousands of prisoners, and then it was transferred to the Third Army, was shifted to General Patton's front, and was committed to action again near the town of Hof. The 97th remained in battle for 5 weeks, moving up with the Third Army into Czechoslovakia. Yesterday I arrived in Hof, Germany, and you can see some pictures and some videos that I took yesterday as I walked around the city after arriving here. And here's a very important place for me, as well as those of you guys who will eventually like history or want to follow in my footsteps or whatever. But after finishing up, the 97th Infantry Division was transferred to the Third Army, and it was shifted to General Patton's front and was committed to action near the town of Hof. The 97th remained in battle for 5 weeks, moving up with the Third Army into Czechoslovakia. After the battle in the Hof area of Germany, on April 25th, regiments of the 97th Infantry Division, supported by armored units, invaded Czechoslovakia and advanced towards Cheb. Division headquarters, however, remained on the German border side. An intelligence report indicated the 97th might encounter elements of the 2nd Panzer Division, which after completion of combat operations in the Hof area of Germany, on the 25th of April, regiments of the 97th Infantry Division, supported by armored units, invaded Czechoslovakia and advanced toward Cheb. Division headquarters, however, remained on the German border. An intelligence report indicated the 97th might encounter elements of the 2nd Panzer Division, which also had a trident as its insignia. Some units of the 97th met only light opposition, while others advanced against considerable resistance, including 88s, minefields, small arm fire, roadblocks, and booby traps. 9 hours after the attack began, units of the 97th were in Cheb. The enemy garrison had withdrawn to the east. Only snipers and a few small units remained. Most of the enemy soldiers escaped during the night, but on April 26, all resistance in the city ceased. Cheb was the first Czechoslovakian city liberated by American forces. On April 28, units of the infantry division, supported by artillery and armor, attacked and secured the Cheb airport. More than 600 prisoners were taken in this brief engagement. American casualties were very light. So this is where I'm staying, the Hotel Max Plus, or something like that. But anyway, it's been around for a long time. It was initially built in 1248, but it had a great fire right on the other side through Main Street. Everything burnt down until you got to the ground floor, which we call the first floor, but they call it the ground floor, and that's where we are. You can see it's right here in one of the little squares in Hof. And there's the church. It's the double steeple church, and we'll see that later on today. Here's the other side of the hotel. And right through there it ends up to one of the main streets. I'm going to show you an interesting part of the hotel, and you can know why it's so old. Let's see. This was all that was left after the fire of 1248. So it's very pretty. And that's where I have breakfast. So this is the reception desk where I came in. This hotel, this part of it was from 1248. You can see the arches. Funky little light. And that's over there is where I have breakfast each morning. Very nice hotel. The gentleman is very nice. He speaks English. And he set up a little tour for me today of a place called Little Berlin. So we'll go see. What you see way down there, that beautiful building up on the hill, that is their gardens, and their zoo is up in that area. It's a huge complex. But the king of Bavaria back in the day built it for his queen. So she got a nice little present. You see all the windmills, some rolling farm. So here we are at the complex that we were going to go to. Okay.
So if you want something to drink or eat.
So right here, I'm in a park. They call it Little Berlin because it was put together as a park in order to show what it used to be when the Russians were faced off with the East Germans here in Berlin. On east and west, Berlin was separated. So on August 13th, 1961, they started in the middle of the night. East German, the GDR, German Democratic Republic, started building walls in the middle of the night, and no one knew what was going on, and it surprised the Germans on the east side as well as on the west side. It surprised everybody. And they went and built this place. There's a Russian tank. So when they built it, nobody knew it was happening. And this is just an example where they can keep their history up and see how a permanent wall was put together, and then a temporary wall was put up first, and then they improved it over the years, and then it was over with. So it's pretty interesting to see that they're still keeping the history. Russian, German, East Germans on one side, West Germans, and American forces, British, as well as the French were on the other side. So this is a village that was on the east and the west side, and they had a wall here just like this, and this is why they call it East Berlin, Little Berlin, because in Berlin, of course, you had the wall that went up on August 13, 1961 and split the city. And you can see in the background a guard tower, and this area right here was no man's land. If you're caught in there, they automatically shoot you or try to capture you, but there's a guard shack up there, and you can see. But this was built here to split this little village. So the village was split, and this is the last part that's left here. So that's what my driver was telling me, that yeah, they had this built here also to separate this village. So it's very interesting. It went all the way down, way over there, when you see that whitish looking thing in the other side. So anyway, we're fixing to leave here, and we're about 8 kilometers outside of Hof, and we're on our way back.
Is West Germany, and the other half is East Germany.
Okay.
Just go in the middle.
So
Well, my driver was just telling me here, I know you picked some of it up, but we're standing in what used to be East Germany. And over there where you see those people standing, that was West Germany. So currently we are on the East German side of the Berlin Wall, or what used to be the Berlin Wall. And it extended way out here in this area, 8 kilometers outside of Hof. So very interesting. So once again, this is East German side, and you see the watchtower up there. And this here is a T-34 main battle tank of the Russian Army during World War II, or at the end of it. And these were put out here to make sure that everybody stayed in line on the east side of. You can see it's very odd looking, very ruggedly built, and they could mass produce these extremely high. It was very effective against the tigers and the panthers and the leopard tanks that they had during that time. Pretty big beast. Look at the rolling wheels, huge. So I stand here outside of the T-34 tank, and I'm in what was considered to be East Germany. So right now I'd be fired upon because I'm on the wrong side. So as we were talking earlier, you can see, and right off of my right eye, you can see the tower in the background, that white structure in the background. So here I am, long way from home, and I'm in East Germany, which is now all called Germany now, but you get my meaning. Have a great day. So you know earlier I talked about Frankfurt and that they found it. This is the area where it was, right where that white building was located and where the windmills are located. They just kept growing and growing in size, and this is that concentration camp that we talked about earlier in one of the earlier videos. So, a little history everywhere. So this is St. Michael's Church. It was built in 1230. And you can see the different times and the different people responsible for continuing to build on this beautiful church. So we're going to step back and take a wider shot. Now first we'll go to look at some dogs. It's a pretty look. So this is St. Mark's Church, and I showed you the information where it was started and everything. We're going to go in there next, but I want to show you the outside of it, and it's right next to the hotel where I'm staying, so it's very beautiful. So what you see here is the door to St. Mark's. It's a beautiful entryway. So let's go see. Well, won't be going in there. It's locked. So I don't know what that means over there, but we'll find out later. So the building is not a church. It's an art museum. So what you see here in this art museum is a picture of Ogden Utah. And it was given to the city of Hof in Bavaria, Germany in January 2015. So it must be like a sister city or something like that, but pretty interesting. Yeah, just like I expected, Ogden and Utah are a sister city. So you see some of the items here that was presented to the city. A golden spike from the railroad where they met, east and west in the United States. You know what? I think this is a art school. I really think it is, because they got classrooms all over this place and you can hear some students going on and stuff. That's me walking up a ramp. Pretty interesting. So it is an art school. Okay. Looked like a church to me. So what you see here is just a figurines rather. You see the church I just talked about, I was trying to get into, but they were closed. And this is what I thought was a church, but it really is a museum slash art school. Very pretty. The watchtower. And that means pharmacist. And I found out about what that was when I was in Dusseldorf and I had a sore throat and I got some medicine. It's a spray like the red juice spray that we have for sore throat. But this thing, it cleared it up. I went to bed, took 5 shots like the pharmacist told me to do, and I didn't have any more problems with my sore throat after that. So, pretty interesting. So the 97th Infantry Division was in the area of Hof and probably came up to this location here, not 100% sure. It's peaceful now. It's just a river that is moving through the city. And they probably saw, this is the church that we saw earlier. And one good point I want to make is, if you're traveling around and you're not familiar, you don't know the language or whatever, always get you a good reference point that's very close to where you want to end up, or where you're staying, or where a taxi is located, or the train station. So as long as you can keep, for example, this is what I kept in sight when I was walking around the city today, looking for anything and everything, just trying to understand what's going around, and restaurants, museums, places I thought were churches but they really were art schools, etc. But as long as you know where a place is that you can get back to and you can find your way from there, that's what you need to do. So here I am at the little square right outside the hotel, and I saw this sculpture. It's very interesting. Can you see the monkey? See the dog? Can you see the frog? The frog is right there at the spigot. Then of course you have the acrobats. And then you have a jolly looking group of people talking, a goose. And he's got a dead goose, so I don't know why the other goose is still sitting there, but okay. Then you have some people laughing and joking, and a potter trying to sell his wares. It's very interesting. Here you can see the frog a little bit better here, it's just on the left. So this is an Italian restaurant that I'm going to go to tonight to have dinner. So we'll see how German Italian food tastes. Well, we're on our way to Weiden, W-E-I-D-E-N, Germany. It's the southern part of Bavaria. It's right very close to the Czech border. The reason we're going here, the 97th Infantry Division at one time had their headquarters here as they continued the invasion into Czechoslovakia. So we're on our way there to spend a couple of nights there. And a little bit about Weiden. It was first documented as an area or a village or a settlement in 1248. And it is the crossroads between two major road routes during the medieval time as well as into the modern time and during World War II. So we'll see you next in Weiden. So this is my train schedule. I'm leaving from Hof at 11:39 and I'll get to Weiden at 12:40. And this train goes from Hof down to Munich. So once again, like Kelsey said, you have to go and look at where you're going to end up and make sure at the end of the line is where you want to be traveling to.